Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, with 252,761 tourists visiting in January of this year, the most in a single month since January of 2018, Sri Lanka achieved a noteworthy tourism milestone. This impressive increase indicates a robust revival in the industry. By 2030, digital exports might bring in $5 billion a year for Sri Lanka, according to Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya, the President's chief advisor on digital economy. On the fourth trading day of the week, the market moved higher, reversing the previous day's downward trend. The upward trend was mirrored by the ASPI and the S&P SL20. And as investors dismissed Alphabet's poor earnings and considered the possibility of further interest rate reduction by the Federal Reserve, Wall Street's major indexes ended the day higher.
From Studio 24, here's Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us. Sri Lanka has reached a significant tourism milestone with 2,500 and 2,761 visitors arriving in January of this year, the highest single-month figure since January of 2018. This remarkable surge reflects a strong recovery in the sector, surpassing previous year's numbers, including 2,300 and 8,924 tourists in January of 2018 and 208,253 in January of last year. India led the charge in tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka in January of this year with 43,375 visitors. Other notable contributors included Russia, England, China, Germany, France and Australia, showcasing the country's wide international appeal. Buddhika Hewawasam, the chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, highlighted that the surge in tourists reflects Sri Lanka's growing popularity as a travel destination. He further shared that each tourist spends approximately 40,000 rupees per day while in the country, underlining the economic impact of tourism. Hewawasam also reassured that there are enough hotel accommodations to meet the increasing demand. The influx of visitors is seen as a positive sign of recovery and future growth for Sri Lanka's tourism sector. This milestone positions Sri Lanka as a key player in the global tourism market. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the signing of exchange papers between the Government of Sri Lanka and the Government of Japan, as well as the amended agreement with the Japan International Cooperation Agency related to foreign debt restructuring. This step follows bipartial negotiations between the GOSL and Japan, marking a key phase in the debt restructuring process. To finalize the deal, the GOSL must sign these documents with JICA after concluding discussions with the Official Creditor Committee. The Attorney General has provided consent for the signing of these essential documents. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, speaking at the Cabinet press conference, confirmed the approval of these arrangements. The completion of this process is crucial for Sri Lanka's ongoing efforts to restructure its foreign debt. Sri Lanka could generate $5 billion annually from digital exports by 2030. This is according to Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya, the chief advisor to the President on digital economy, speaking at the Sri Lanka Digital Public Infrastructure Summit.
Sri Lanka could generate up to $5 billion annually from digital exports by 2030, according to Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya, who is the Chief Advisor to the President on digital economy. Speaking at the launch of Sri Lanka Digital Public Infrastructure Summit, Vijayasuriya emphasized that in $80 to $90 billion economy, they represent significant growth potential. He noted that fully embracing digitization could boost Sri Lanka's compound annual growth rate by 1 to 2% annually, potentially doubling the GDP growth if digital exports reach the projected levels. Vijayasuriya also called for expanding the digital workforce beyond the current target of 200,000 to increase the sector's contribution to the economy. He challenged stakeholders to aim digital exports generating $15 billion in revenue with a target of growing the digital economy to 20% of the gross domestic product. Furthermore, he highlighted the need for Sri Lanka to improve its digital infrastructure to enhance global competitiveness.
Sri Lanka has officially launched its first ever Sri Lanka Conference Ambassador Program, marking a significant step towards becoming a leading destination for international conferences. The initiative, presented by Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, the Sri Lanka Convention Bureau and Sri Lankan Airlines, aims to position Sri Lanka as a global hub for business events. The launch event, attended by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorary Vijitha Herath and ICCA CEO Senthil Gopinath, gathered key stakeholders to celebrate this milestone. The program will engage local association leaders and professional ambassadors, helping attract international conferences to Sri Lanka. With 25 ambassadors already onboarded, SLCAP is set to transform the country's MICE sector, fostering economic growth and sustainability. Mikael Svensson, the CEO of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, expressed pride in the initiative, highlighting the country's growing capacity to host large-scale events, with venues like Cinnamon Life at City of Dreams offering space for up to 5,000 delegates. Let's take a short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. The market experienced an upward shift on the fourth trading day of the week, reversing the downward trend seen in previous sessions. Both the ASPI and S&P SL 20 reflected this positive momentum. For further insights on this, we speak with Anjali Matthews from First Capital Holdings.
Today, the Colombo Stock Exchange shifted gears and experienced a day of positive sentiment, with the all-share price index closing at 16,507, gaining 51 points and marking a 0.31% increase from the previous day. So the top contributors towards the positive index were Sampath Bank, DFCC, CT Holdings, John Keells Holdings, and Ceylon Bank. And in a similar trend, the S&P SL 20 index also closed in green, gaining 40 points to close at 4,938, with a 0.81% increase from the previous day. So investor sentiment improved with increased levels of participation, particularly from the banking sector. So amidst the positive sentiment, turnover recorded at Rs 5.2 billion, where the banking sector dominated turnover, accounting for 27% of overall turnover, while the capital goods and food, beverage, and tobacco sectors jointly contributed to 37% of overall turnover. So the top gainers of the day include UB Finance, Sigiriya Village Hotels, the Nuwara Hotels Company, Tess Agro, and Colombo City Holdings. While the top losers of the day were Industrial Asphalts PLC, Selinka Holdings, Haga Foods, Kotmale Holdings, and Lanka Ceramic PLC.
In line with the central bank's projections, Sri Lanka's headline inflation remained in negative territory for the fifth consecutive month, recording a 4.0% deflation in January of this year compared to 1.7% in December last year. For further insights, we speak with Manusha Kandanarachi from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you. In line with the central bank's near-term projections, headline inflation, as measured by the year-over-year change in the Colombo Consumer Price Index, remained in the negative territory for the fifth consecutive month, recording a deflation of 4% in January 2025 compared to the deflation of 1.7% in December 2024. Year-on-year inflation of the food group decreased significantly to minus 2.6%. Inflation of the non-food group also dipped to minus 4.7% in January from minus 3% in December 2024. The contribution from food category by year-over-year inflation was 0.83%, while the contribution of the non-food items stood at 3.22%, mainly due to decrease in prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels and transport. The CCPI index increased by 0.5% month-on-month, contributed by increase in expenditure of food items by 0.11% and increase in expenditure of non-food items by 0.36% as well. Within the food items, an increase in the value changes were mainly reported for green chilies, coconuts, rice, tamarind, and coconut oil. Within the non-food groups, increase in value changes were mainly reported for transport, education, furnishing household equipment and routine household maintenance, alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotic, health and clothing and footwear as well.
Gold prices eased today as the US dollar regained some strength. However, concerns over the ongoing US-China trade tensions kept safe haven demand for gold high, preventing a significant decline. Spot gold was 0.4% lower, trading at $2,854.39 per ounce, following an all-time high of $2,882.16 in the previous session. The market remains cautious as investors monitor the trade war's impact on global markets. Despite the pullback, gold continues to hold near its record peak. The volatility in gold prices highlights its role as a key safe haven asset amid economic uncertainties. Oil prices edged higher in Asian trading today after sharp declines overnight as traders cautiously assess escalating US-China trade tensions, while data showing higher US crude stockpiles reflected weak demand. Brent oil futures inched 0.2% higher to $74.75 a barrel, while crude oil WTI futures expiring in March ticked up 0.2% to $70.91 a barrel. Both contracts fell more than 2% at settlement yesterday. Prices remained down 3.5% for the week, further pressured by a surge in US crude inventories reported by the US Energy Information Administration yesterday, the largest weekly build since November of last year. The Sri Lankan rupee has strengthened against the US dollar today, showing an improvement compared to yesterday. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, both the buying and selling rates of the US dollar have slightly decreased. Let's now take a closer look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is faring against other major global currencies. A short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back. Sri Lanka's lubricants market has been bolstered by the formal entry of HP Lubricants, a division of Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, in collaboration with SeaWorld Lanka Limited.
HP Lubricants, a part of Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, has officially entered Sri Lanka's lubricants market, marking a significant development in the country's India trade relations. The launch event was celebrated in Colombo with Deputy Commissioner Dr. Satyanjal Pandey as the chief guest. Key officials from HPCL, including Director of Marketing Amit Garg and senior team members, attended the gala event. Kaplan Lubricants, the sole distributor of HP Lubricants in Sri Lanka, will offer a wide range of automotive, industrial and marine oils as well as specialty products and greases. The product lineup includes high-performance oils for diesel and petrol engines, hybrid engines and motorcycles alongside oils compatible with electric vehicles. These offerings will cater to the local automobile assembly industry's OEM requirements. With this partnership, the Sri Lankan market will see a significant increase in product quality and variety.
Singer Sri Lanka PLC has appointed Shalinka Serasinghe, Tulitha Mendis and Vajra Thinnakun as executive directors to the company's board, effective from the 1st of April. Serasinghe, currently Director of Finance, brings over 15 years of experience in finance and has held senior roles in top corporates, following his accounting and auditing experience at Ernst & Young. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka and the Chartered Institute of Management Accounts in the UK. Mendis, serving as Director Commercial, has over 20 years of experience in sourcing, commercial negotiations and supply chain management, with prior roles in local and international banks. He holds an MBA from Cardiff Metropolitan University and is currently the chairman of the import section at the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Thinnakun, the Director of Sales, brings 27 years of experience in marketing, retail and sales, including 2 years as Marketing Director at Singer, Bangladesh. Cape Valigama, a luxury resort on Sri Lanka's southern coast, is set to host exclusive culinary collaborations with renowned London chefs and mixologists, blending local traditions with global influences. Cape Valigama, a luxury resort on Sri Lanka's southern coast, will host an exclusive series of culinary collaborations this season with distinguished chefs and mixologists. The series will feature renowned figures such as Ryan Chetiyawardena, Dominic Fernando, and Cynthia Shanmugalingam, known for their innovative takes on Sri Lankan gastronomy and mixology. Kicking off on 9th February, Mr. Lian will reimagine the classic high tea with cocktails featuring Ceylon Arak, Colombo Gin and Three Families cocktail seasoning in collaboration with Dilma, Rockland and himself. Mr. Lian, with accolades such as World's Best Bar and Person of the Decade, promises a memorable experience set against the Indian Ocean. On the 15th of February, Dominic Fernando will host a chef's table experience as part of the Gourmet Golf Festival. Known for his boundary-pushing approach to Sri Lankan cuisine, Fernando will present an ingredient-driven menu celebrating the island's bold flavors. The event will also preview Open Door Policy, his upcoming Colombo restaurant. Cargill's Bank and MasterCard have launched Sri Lanka's first contactless sticker payment solution, Tap It. The innovative solution aims to provide a seamless experience for MasterCard credit and debit card holders with instant payments and real-time SMS alerts. Combining MasterCard's global payment expertise with Cargill's Bank's local insights, Tap It promotes digital payments and advances financial inclusion in Sri Lanka. The adhesive sticker, featuring advanced near-field communication technology, can be placed on any flat surface like mobile phones or handbags and offers military-grade security. Cardholders can easily make contactless payments by holding the sticker near a point-of-sale device to complete the transaction. Allianz Insurance Lanka Limited, one of Sri Lanka's general insurers and a part of the global giant Allianz SE, proudly marks 20 years of unwavering service to the nation.
Allianz Insurance Lanka Limited is celebrating 20 years of providing innovative insurance solutions to Sri Lankans. Since its inception in 2005, the company has tailored its offerings to meet diverse needs of individuals and businesses, building resilience and financial security. As a part of Allianz SC headquartered in Munich, Germany, it benefits from the global strength of one of the world's leading financial service providers. Allianz SC was recently recognized as the world #1 insurance brand by Interbrand and Brand Finance in 2024, marking its 6th consecutive year earning this prestigious title. Over the past 2 decades, Allianz Insurance Lanka has built a reputation for reliability, offering motor, health and business insurance coverage. The company continues to mission to serve Sri Lankans with integrity and innovation while looking forward to introducing more customer-centric solutions. Allianz aims to deepen its engagement with customers and help them safeguard what matters the most.
The Cabinet has granted approval to award Halley's Fentons Limited the contract for developing a 50-megawatt wind power facility in Ghana. The decision is after a thorough and transparent appeal process overseen by the Procurement Appeal Board. Initially, the Halley's Fentons bid was not considered by the project committee due to additional content mentioned in the bid security. However, on the 6th of August last year, upon consideration of the appeal, the PAB recommended to the Cabinet that the bid be considered and evaluated, since the additional content further assures the bid security. The contract has been awarded to Halley's Fentons at the lowest tendered bid of $4.65 USD per unit of electricity. This competitive rate results in a significant saving of over 3 billion rupees for the nation compared to the previously considered bid of $4.88 USD per unit of electricity. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks rose today, driven by gains in the broader tech sector, which tracked Wall Street's positive performance. U.S. stock index futures also edged higher in Asian trade, buoyed by solid capital spending forecasts from NVIDIA on artificial intelligence. Shares of Hong Kong-listed Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp reached a record high, while Sunny Optical Technology stock surged 6.1%. In Tokyo, the Nikkei 225 gained 0.3%, with semiconductor giant Tokyo Electron up 1.8% and Sony Corp adding 1.2%. Renesas Electronics Corp saw a notable 12% surge following strong earnings for the December quarter. South Korea's Kospi index rose 0.5% with Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix Incorporated gaining 1.1% and 2.7% respectively. Wall Street's main indexes closed higher as investors brushed off disappointing earnings from Alphabet and weighed the prospect of future interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve.
Wall Street's main indexes closed higher on Wednesday as investors brushed off disappointing earnings from Alphabet and weighed the prospect of future interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. The Dow gained about 0.7%, the S&P 500 added about 0.4%, and the Nasdaq ticked up roughly 0.2%. Google parent Alphabet dropped about 7% a day after posting downbeat cloud revenue growth and earmarking a higher-than-expected $75 billion investment in AI this year. Alphabet's results came after Chinese startup DeepSeek last week rocked shares of rival AI companies such as NVIDIA after it launched what it claimed to be a low-cost AI model. In other tech news, shares of Advanced Micro Devices fell after the chipmaker's CEO said current quarter data center sales, a proxy for its AI revenue, would drop about 7% from the previous quarter. Apple shares ended slightly lower after Bloomberg News reported that China's antitrust regulator was preparing for a possible investigation into the iPhone maker. And shares of Uber dropped more than 7.5% after the ride-hailing firm forecast current quarter bookings below estimates. On the data front, the Institute for Supply Management said services sector activity unexpectedly slowed in January amid cooling demand. Investors now look to Friday's non-farm payrolls report for January for further clues on Fed policy, with the majority of traders expecting this year's first interest rate cut to come in June.
Ford projected up to $5.5 billion in losses on its electronic vehicle and software operation this year, a loss similar to last year and a sign of the severe difficulties in cutting costs on battery-powered models.
Ford is braced for deepening losses on electric vehicles. The auto giant said Wednesday it expected a deficit of up to $5.5 billion on EVs and software operations in 2025. That's similar to last year, and analysts say it's a sign that the firm is struggling to cut costs on battery-powered models. Ford shares dropped nearly 5% in after-hours trading following the update. The overall picture looked brighter, though. Fourth quarter revenue of over $48 billion easily beat estimates, as did earnings per share. Now Chief Executive Jim Farley is hoping to follow a choppy 2024 with a steadier year. But uncertainty over what Donald Trump might do on tariffs isn't helping. If he goes through with new levies on Canada and Mexico, that would drive up raw material costs for Ford and probably weigh on sales too. The firm is the first major US automaker to report earnings since Trump announced the duties. Speaking to analysts, Farley said Ford could weather a few weeks of tariffs. But he said a prolonged trade war would wipe out billions of dollars in industry profits and be bad news for US jobs. However, he added that he believed Trump was trying to strengthen the US auto industry, not weaken it. As for EVs, Ford took dramatic action last year, axing one planned model and delaying another. It now doesn't plan to roll out any new electric cars over the coming year, relying instead on sales of hybrids. That's in contrast to arch-rival General Motors, which plans a blitz of new EV launches this year.
That's all from us here on the Nightly Business Report for today. We'll see you again tomorrow with the latest updates across the business globe. Till then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.